Island nations are very interesting as they can show what it's like to have no borders and are basically the exact reverse of landlocked nations. So, what are some of the perks and the downsides of being entirely surrounded by the sea? Well, first, what is an island nation? That may seem obvious. It's an island that's its own nation, and while that's true for some countries, most scenarios have multiple islands per country, or even multiple countries per island. Hispaniola is a great example of the latter, as Haiti and the Dominican Republic share a border with each other, but no other nations, and they're both entirely on the island of Hispaniola. Another example is Britain and Ireland, through UK-controlled Northern Ireland. Japan's a great example of the opposite, as it has 4 main islands, Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu, hopefully pronouncing those right, which means that it's technically actually an archipelago nation. And though archipelago nations are vastly more common, island nation is still a more often used term. Probably because it's simpler and, let's be honest, you probably can't spell archipelago. However, the only border it really shares is a maritime border with Russia. So what about an example of both these scenarios at once? An island nation with both borders and multiple islands. The perfect example of this is Indonesia. Indonesia has between 13 and 17 islands and oh, sorry, that was a typo. I meant 13 to 17,000 islands. Plus, it also borders 3 nations, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, and East Timor. However, every single part of Indonesia is on an island, including the capital, Jakarta, which definitely makes Indonesia an island nation. So, what about nations who have territory on a continent? Well, the only modern example of this is Equatorial Guinea, which, though it is on the central western African mainland, its capital, Malabo, is actually on an island. It's actually over here on Bioko Island, just west of the mainland. Kind of like if France's capital were on Corsica, but that does not make it an island nation, although that's possibly because people don't generally know about the 2 islands that Equatorial Guinea holds. Then again, people don't generally tend to know about Equatorial Guinea to begin with. But of nations where only a small bit of their territory is actually on the mainland, that's a bit harder to answer, especially considering the fact that there aren't really any modern examples, though it's probably safe to say that a nation with most of its land off the continent could be considered an island nation. Don't call me on this though. What really gets interesting is when you get to Borneo, where there are 3 nations, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei Darussalam. According to Wikipedia's list of island nations, Malaysia is not an island nation, which makes sense as about half of its land, including the capital Kuala Lumpur, is located on the Malay Peninsula, which is obviously not an island. However, Brunei is considered an island nation as, despite Malaysia being its only neighbor, it is still entirely on Borneo, something we have discussed earlier with Hispaniola. Island nation terminology is weird, man. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe for more in the future. Please also be sure to like, comment, and share this video. And I will see you next Sunday.